We ask the question all the time in different ways. Am I a runner? Should I be walking more? We look at our bodies and wonder what they're for. Are these legs built for speed or for endurance? For a slow, steady plod or a powerful sprint? The debate often gets framed as a simple choice. Did we evolve to run or to walk? The truth is, asking which one we evolved for is like asking if a bird evolved to fly or to land. It's the wrong question. We evolved to do both. They aren't competing skills. They are complementary parts of a survival strategy that made us who we are. Walking set the stage, it was the great transformation, but running, that was our secret weapon. To understand ourselves, we have to understand the story of both. Let's start with walking. This is our foundation. It is the defining act of our lineage. Long before we were Homo sapiens, with our big brains and our fancy tools, we were apes who stood up. We committed to 2 feet. This was not a small change. It was a complete anatomical revolution. It happened millions of years ago, with ancestors like the famous Australopithecus afarensis Lucy. She lived over 3 million years ago, and her skeleton tells a fascinating story. Her hips and knee joints show she walked upright, much like we do. But her long arms and curved fingers suggest she was still comfortable in the trees. She was a creature of 2 worlds, the forest and the savanna, caught in the middle of a grand transition. Why stand up in the first place? For a long time, the dominant idea was the savanna hypothesis. The climate in Africa was changing. Dense forests were shrinking, replaced by wide-open grasslands. For an ape living on the edge of this new world, standing up offered advantages. You could see over the tall grass, spotting predators from a distance. You could also spot food sources. Elegant idea, and there's more. Walking on 2 legs is incredibly efficient, especially over long distances. If you compare the energy a chimpanzee uses to knuckle walk a kilometer to the energy a human uses to walk the same distance, the human wins by a landslide. We use about a quarter of the energy. In a world where calories are scarce, efficiency is everything. Saving energy on travel means you have more energy for finding food, for raising offspring, for simply staying alive. Another compelling reason is thermoregulation. Staying cool, an animal walking on all fours exposes its entire back to the brutal overhead sun. A bipedal animal presents a much smaller target to the sun at midday when it's hottest. You get less solar radiation. Plus, standing upright lifts your body higher off the hot ground and into breezier air. This might seem like a small thing, but in the African sun, it could be the difference between life and overheating. And maybe the most important reason of all, standing up freed our hands. This cannot be overstated. Hands that no longer needed to support our body weight could now be used for other things. They could carry food back to a home base. They could carry infants, allowing mothers to be more mobile. And eventually those free hands would learn to carry tools, to shape a rock into a cutting edge. To butcher a carcass, the act of walking on 2 legs is what paved the way for technology. It all started with that first upright step. Our bodies are a testament to this walking heritage. Look at a human skeleton next to a chimpanzee's. The differences are profound. Our spine isn't a simple arch like an ape's. It has an S-curve which acts as a shock absorber and positions our center of gravity directly over our hips. Our pelvis changed from being long and narrow to short and wide, forming a bowl shape. This bowl supports our internal organs and provides a stable base for our leg muscles to attach to. Our legs are long, and our thigh bones, the femurs, angle inward from the hip to the knee. This is called the valgus angle, and it allows us to plant our feet directly underneath our center of gravity with each step. It keeps us from waddling side to side like a chimp trying to walk upright. And then there are our feet. An ape's foot is a grasping tool, almost like another hand, with a big, opposable toe. Our feet are rigid platforms. We have a pronounced arch that acts like a leaf spring, absorbing the shock of each step and returning energy to propel us forward. Our big toe is large and aligned with the other toes, providing the final push-off in our stride. These aren't the feet of a climber. They are the feet of a dedicated, full-time walker. So, the case for walking is overwhelming. It is our oldest, most fundamental adaptation. It's what separated our ancestors from the other apes. For millions of years, our lineage refined the art of bipedal locomotion. We became master walkers. It was our superpower. It allowed us to survive and thrive as the world changed around us. It is the anatomical bedrock upon which everything else about us was built. But it's not the whole story. The story gets even more interesting with the arrival of our own genus, Homo, around 2.5 million years ago. specifically with a species called Homo erectus. These weren't like the small ape like Australopithecines. Homo erectus was taller, with longer legs and shorter arms. Their bodies were proportioned much more like ours. Their brains were bigger. They made more sophisticated tools. And it's with Homo erectus that a new skill seems to have appeared on the scene running. Not just a quick panic scramble, but something more. Endurance running. This is the core of the born to run argument, most famously put forward by researchers Daniel Lieberman and Dennis Bramble. They argue that while our walking adaptations were already in place, a whole new set of features appeared in our lineage that make no sense for walking. These features are, however, perfect for running long distances. Let's look at the evidence. It's written all over our bodies. Start with our legs and feet. We have long Achilles tendons, that thick, springy tendon that connects your calf muscle to your heel bone. When you run, it stretches as your foot lands, storing elastic energy. Then it recoils like a rubber band, launching you into your next stride. It provides free energy, making running far more efficient than it would be otherwise. A chimpanzee has a tiny, insignificant Achilles tendon. Their anatomy gets no spring from their step. Our long Achilles is a runner's feature, not a walker's. Move up the body to our biggest muscle, the gluteus maximus, for your butt. You might think this muscle is crucial for walking, but it's not. When you walk, your glutes are mostly just along for the ride. They don't fire much, but start to run, and they fire powerfully with every stride. Their main job in running is to keep your torso from pitching forward. They are a stabilizing muscle. Apes have small, flat butts. We have large, powerful ones because we are runners. Then there's the matter of keeping our heads stable. When you run, your body is jostling up and down. To see where you're going, you need to keep your head from bobbing all over the place. We have a feature that most other primates lack in nuchal ligament. It's an elastic band that runs from the base of your skull down your neck. It helps hold your head steady without constantly using muscle power. It's a runner's shock absorber. But perhaps the biggest piece of the puzzle is our ability to cool down. If you're going to run for a long time, especially in the African heat, you have to shed heat or you will die. Most mammals have a major problem here. A cheetah can sprint incredibly fast, but only for a few hundred yards before it risks overheating. A gazelle can run fast, but it gets rid of heat by panting. Panting is a fine strategy, but you can't pant effectively while you're galloping at full tilt. The mechanics of breathing and running are linked. We solved the cooling problem in a completely different and far more effective way. We lost our fur, and we developed an incredible number of sweat glands all over our bodies. We are the sweatiest primates. As we run, we leak water onto our skin. The wind, even a slight breeze, evaporates that sweat, pulling heat away from our bodies. It's like having a personal full-body air conditioning system. This system decouples our cooling from our breathing. We can run and breathe and cool down all at the same time. This is a massive advantage. We might not be the fastest animal on the savannah, but we can outlast almost all of them. So why would we need all this running gear? We certainly didn't evolve to outsprint a lion. We'd lose that race every single time, and it's unlikely we were running away from predators over long distances. The answer, according to the endurance running hypothesis, is hunting, specifically a method called persistence hunting. Imagine the scene. It's midday on the African savanna. The sun is at its peak. Most predators are resting in the shade, trying to stay cool, but a small group of Homo erectus hunters is active. They spot a large antelope, like a kudu. They don't try to sneak up on it. They just start to run after it at a slow, steady jog. The kudu, seeing them, easily bolts away. But the hunters don't give up. They track it. They follow its footprints, they find it again, and start running. The kudu bolts again. This goes on for hours. The kudu is a quadruped. It's a sprinter. It runs in fast bursts, but it relies on panting to cool down. Every time it sprints, its body temperature shoots up. It has to stop to pant and recover. But it can't run and pant at the same time. The human hunters, however, just keep coming. They jog steadily, sweating profusely, keeping their body temperature stable. The animal runs, rests, runs, rests. The humans just jog. Eventually, after miles and miles under the hot sun, the kudu can't run anymore. It collapses from hypothermia, from heat exhaustion. The hunters, barely breaking a sweat in comparison, can then walk up and dispatch their prey. This is a radical idea. It suggests that before we had powerful projectile weapons like spears and arrows, we hunted with our legs and our endurance. We ran our prey to death. This would explain the selective pressure for all these running adaptations. It explains our springy tendons, our big butt muscles, our steady heads, and our phenomenal ability to sweat. We weren't the fastest hunters or the strongest, but we were the most relentless. We were the marathoners of the animal kingdom. There is evidence for this practice too. Some modern hunter-gatherer groups, like the Sand People of the Kalahari Desert, have been documented using persistence hunting until very recently. They demonstrate that it is possible for a human to run down an antelope. It's not a hypothetical idea, it's a real, albeit incredibly difficult human skill. So, where does this leave us? On one hand, we have millions of years of evolution shaping us into master walkers. On the other, we have a suite of highly specialized traits that make us elite endurance runners. The debate isn't about which one is true. They are both true. The story of our evolution is a story of layering. Where walking came first, it was the fundamental shift that set our ancestors on a new path. It was the adaptation for a life spent covering ground efficiently, for foraging, for carrying, for exploring. For millions of years, we were expert walkers. Then, on top of that walking chassis, evolution added a running engine. This wasn't a replacement, it was an upgrade, a specialized toolkit for a new ecological niche daytime hunting on the open savanna. Think of it in terms of your own life. You spend most of your day walking. You walk around your house, to your car, through the grocery store. Walking is your default mode of transportation. It's low cost, low impact, and sustainable. But sometimes you need to run. You run to catch a bus, you run for exercise. You run playing a game with your kids. Running is for high intensity, short term needs. Our evolutionary history is similar. Our ancestors spent most of their time walking. But when the opportunity or the need arose, they could run, and they could run for a very, very long time. This dual capability model makes perfect sense. We weren't just walkers or just runners. We were versatile opportunists. Our ability to walk efficiently allowed us to cover huge territories, to find scattered food sources, and to survive lean times. Our ability to run gave us access to a new, incredibly valuable resource, large packages of meat and fat. Getting that meat provided the high-quality calories needed to fuel a growing brain. It's very possible that our running ability is what allowed our brains to expand so dramatically in Homo erectus and beyond. Running may have literally fed the brain that would one day ponder its own existence. This evolutionary heritage has profound implications for our lives today. We live in a world that our bodies were not designed for. We sit in chairs for hours on end. We drive cars instead of walking. We get our food from a refrigerator instead of chasing it across the savannah. This profound mismatch between our ancient bodies and our modern environment is at the root of many of our chronic health problems. Our bodies expect and need to move. They are built on a foundation of constant, low-level activity, which is walking. The health benefits of simply walking every day are enormous. It strengthens our heart, our bones, our muscles. It helps regulate blood sugar and blood pressure. It is, in many ways, the single best form of exercise for most people because it is what we are most fundamentally built to do. When we deprive our bodies of this basic movement, things start to break down. But our bodies also retain the capacity for running. For millions of us, there is a deep, primal satisfaction in going for a run. The rhythmic pounding of feet on the ground, the deep breathing, the feeling of moving under our own power. Some have speculated that the runner's high, the flood of endorphins and endocannabinoids we experience during and after a long run, might be an evolutionary reward mechanism. It could be a neurochemical echo of the prize at the end of a successful persistence hunt. It's the feeling of a job well done, a reward for pushing through the pain and the fatigue to secure a meal for your family. Of course, our running adaptations also come with trade-offs. The same stiff, arched foot that is great for pushing off the ground is also prone to problems like plantar fasciitis. The same long legs that give us a huge stride make our hips and knees vulnerable to stress injuries. We are not perfectly designed machines. We are a bundle of evolutionary compromises. We are built to run, but we are also fragile. This might explain why some people take to running easily and love it, while for others it feels like a painful chore that leads only to injury. Our individual anatomies vary, and our modern lifestyle, especially a lifetime spent in supportive shoes, changes the way our bodies function. The debate over barefoot running versus modern running shoes taps directly into this evolutionary story. Proponents of barefoot running argue that our feet evolved to function without support, and that modern cushioned shoes weaken the muscles in our feet, leading to injuries. They argue we should run as our ancestors did. Opponents counter that we no longer live in a world of soft dirt and grass, but one of concrete and asphalt, and that our now weakened feet need the protection and cushioning that shoes provide. Both sides have valid points. The truth is likely somewhere in the middle, and it highlights our complicated relationship with our own evolved bodies in a world we have radically remade. In the end, we did not evolve to run or to walk. We evolved to walk, and then we evolved to run. Walking is our history. It is our daily bread. It is the movement that freed our hands and allowed our minds to grow. It connects us to our deepest primate past. Running is our legacy. It is the specialist skill that turned us into formidable hunters and survivors. It is the activity that may have fueled the final expansion of the human brain. The two are not in conflict. They are two chapters in the same epic story. They represent the two gears of our locomotive system. The first gear, walking, is for efficient, all-day travel. The second gear, running, is for those moments that demand power, endurance, and grit. Our bodies carry the anatomical signatures of both. The S-curve in our spine is for walking. The neutral ligament in our neck is for running. The arch in our foot serves both. The gluteus maximus waits patiently while we walk, ready to fire the moment we break into a run. To be healthy and whole in the modern world is to honor this dual heritage. We need to walk far more than we do. We need to reclaim that constant low-level movement that our metabolism and our skeletons crave. And for those of us who can, we benefit from running, from pushing our bodies, from engaging that ancient cooling system, from feeling the spring in our Achilles and the power in our stride. So, the next time you go for a walk, feel the millions of years of evolution in your easy, efficient stride. You are participating in the most ancient and fundamental of human movements. And the next time you go for a run, feel that other part of your history awaken. The persistence hunter, the relentless pursuer, the creature who could outlast any other animal under the sun. You are not just a walker or a runner, you are a human. And your story was written, one step at a time, on 2 feet.